Hello, I'm Sally Stanton and welcome to Snacks and Suitcases, the podcast packed with tips, tricks and real-life stories to make travelling with kids of all ages a whole lot easier and way more fun. And today it's time to hit the high seas and go cruising with your kids.
Mom, can I pack all my teddies?
Okay, let's get started. Have you always dreamed of going on a cruise but thought, what if I get bored and feel like I'm stuck on the ship? Or what if the kids get seasick or I get seasick? And what about all the germs? I get it. I was once like you. But after taking a couple of cruises for work on Sydney Weekender, now I see what's to love about cruising. And there is a lot. But of course, don't just take my word for it. Take Rose Kelly's, a multimedia journalist who is the chief host of the Onboard with Cruise Passenger video podcast. Today, Rose is here to help bust some of the biggest cruising cliches and stereotypes. And by the end of our chat, you might just realise that when it comes to travelling with kids, cruising could be the most fun and surprisingly easiest holiday option out there. So grab a spot on the Lido deck as we're all aboard the Snacks and Suitcases cruise ship. Hello, Rose. Welcome to the pod. It is so nice to hear your voice after such a long time.
Sally, it's been too long, my love.
I know. And you're obviously not on a cruise right now, or maybe you are.
I'm not, for a change. No, I'm actually at home in Sydney right now, and I'm quite happy to just have a little bit of time at home.
Oh, you're on solid ground. Now, I think the last time I saw you, we were working together on Sydney Weekender, and you've stayed in the travel industry since. But how did you find yourself in the cruise biz?
That is such a good question. As you said, travel with the Sydney Weekender, and as you know, honey, we got to do a bit of anything and everything with that wonderful show. And since then, I've found myself in the niche of cruising, working for a wonderful creative agency that specialises in cruise. And so as a multimedia journalist, I now get to travel around the world looking at various cruise ships all over planet Earth. And in that, you'd be absolutely amazed at how big the world of cruising is. It's the fastest growing travel industry on earth. They literally cannot build the cruise ships fast enough to accommodate the growth in cruising.
Is it really?
But yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's not just a cruise ship. It's like ocean cruising, river cruising, luxury cruising, expedition cruising, small river ship cruising. Like the options are just endless. And so many people, once you cruise once, apparently you're hooked. So
I have met people who have done multiple cruises, sometimes back to back. I think I interviewed a guy who has done 30 cruises. Are you up there with him, Rose? How many have you done?
That's the norm for most cruise people these days. Like that's pretty standard. I'm not quite there yet. I've been doing my very best in the last sort of 5 years since I've been covering cruise content. I'm just a beginner, really. I'm, coming up to about a dozen big cruises. But, like when you talk about doing a cruise, I mean, that's, as an Aussie, that involves flying to the other side of the world and then being on board for minimum sort of 10 days, 2 weeks at a time. So, to be able to say that I'm close to doing a dozen of those, that's still a fair chunk of time and energy and yeah, it's big. It's really big. I don't know who these people are that can do 30 cruises. In saying that, I've just this morning been interviewing the head of Regent Seven Seas Cruises, and I was interviewing her about these new cruises that are world cruises, and they're around about 172 nights per cruise. And people are spending $1.8 million per person.
What? No.
To be in a shared cabin to do these world cruises. It's incredible.
Wow. You need to get on that one, Rose. You've got to get on that one. Please invite me.
Oh, I'm working hard. I'm trying very hard to get myself a seat on those cruises. Yeah.
That's half the year cruising on the same ship.
And more money than you could fathom, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're a busy lady, Rose. You haven't had time to get up there yet because you're also a mum of two, a teenager and a teenager, two girls. I'm sure they've been on a few cruises with you.
Look, they have, but we're probably talking pre-COVID, so they were a lot younger when they were doing a majority of that sort of cruise travel with me. They've definitely travelled round the world multiple times, but as I said, when they were a bit younger. So my eldest daughter, Isabella, who's turning 14 this month, she's my teenager, she's about to go with me on a cruise. We're flying out on Friday this week, and we're doing 2 weeks on the Majestic Princess, and we're about to cruise around the Mediterranean for a work trip for that. So I get to take a +1 on this one. She's very excited. This is going to be her first experience in the Mediterranean that she can really remember. And she's absolutely pumped. And this is on board, as I said, the Majestic Princess. So it's just been in dry dock for 2 weeks. Having a refurb, and so it'll look and feel like a brand new ship. So very excited about that one.
Wow, what is she looking forward to the most as a teenager going on a cruise? I'd love to know what they like.
Look, I'd like to say that she's most excited about just spending time with her mum. But yeah, no, in reality, I think she's really excited about just being able to like sit by the pool and message her friends and say, guess where I am? Just hanging out around the Greek islands, having all I can eat room service, and maybe having her nails done in the spa in the afternoon. And, it's just every teenager's dream come true, really.
Oh, and they love room service, don't they? Oh, your daughter's going to love that every single day, or an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Anything that's all inclusive, it's like, what? The heavens have opened. Yeah.
Absolutely. Is that what you love about cruising the most?
I think the one thing that I love the most, and this is being really realistic, as you said, I'm a mum. So the things that bring me joy in life today is like laundry done for me. I know you'll laugh, but it's true, right? Any mums who are listening will be doing the noddies. It's like, okay, laundry's done for me. My bed is made for me every day. I only have to unpack once when I get on board a cruise ship. That's the one thing.
Oh, I love that too.
And then I get to wake up every single day in a new destination somewhere in the world. And I haven't had to do any of those, military organized logistics in between destinations. It's all done. I don't have to do the dishes. I don't have to cook. I just get to roll on up in the morning, open my curtains on my balcony and go, oh, look where we are today, guys, and go and explore a brand new city on Earth.
When you put it like that, it's a no-brainer.
Right. I have more appreciation today for those ease of luxury moments that maybe in my 20s I wouldn't have appreciated so much, but today I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, an easy holiday is the best holiday.
That's it.
Now, when I did a couple of cruises for Sydney Weekender, actually, I was a little skeptical going into it, but after the trips, I just couldn't stop gushing about it. I had the best time, Rose, and people were kind of, elbowing me on the sly saying, was it really as good as it looked? And you know what? It was. But this has got me thinking, why does cruising have so many misconceptions? And maybe cruising cliches? There's a lot of them. I want to clear them up with you, the cruising expert.
So the people I find who are still holding on to the old cliches about cruising are the people who haven't personally done it. Anyone who has done it, they're the first to say, oh my God, I get it now. Like the advantages of cruising are just huge. And it's not just for yourself, it's for the whole family, from grandparents to parents to kids on one cruise ship, and every single member of the family, regardless of your age, every person comes off saying that was the best cruise ever or the best holiday ever. So the kids have got everything they could want and dream for in life. They've got the kids clubs, the water slides, the Dodgem cars, kids-friendly menus in every restaurant. Dodgem cars, there's panic rooms, there's laser tag, there's wakeboarding and these wave pools.
What? No.
Like the list is endless. It's like Disneyland for kids. And then for the grandparents, they've got everything they could want, from shore excursions that are catered to taking in the most amazing galleries and museums. Everything's easy and taken care of for you. And then on board, you've got these productions at night that are like Broadway musical productions, some of the best shows on earth, and these phenomenal, like,
Wow.
light up stage productions with the best sound systems and light shows you can imagine.
Awesome.
And the parents, as far as I'm concerned, if I've got a happy mum and a happy kid, then my holiday is half done. Like, I can relax and just take in sitting on a deck chair, or going and doing a day at the spa.
Nice.
Or, doing some of this fun interactive stuff. My favorite stuff as an activity, as a shore excursion, is to go and wander around the markets of a foreign city with a cruise guide and learn all about, the best spices and the best ingredients. And then you get to take those ingredients back to the ship and learn how to cook it with your private chef.
Private chef, that's my dream.
And then sit down and enjoy that meal. Like, some of this stuff is like your dream holiday for every single person on board.
Oh, you are selling it to me right now, Rose.
I could talk forever, Sally. It's crazy.
I heard recently that there were cruises where you could bring your pet dogs and cats. Is this true or some vicious rumor?
No, that does exist. There are such things as theme cruises. Like, some of them are pretty wild and out there. There is such a thing now, not just, a cat's cruise or a dog's cruise, but there's like, knitting cruises. There's even a nudist cruise.
A nudist cruise?
I'm not joking. I personally haven't done that one, but never
might
say
have to
never.
give that one a miss with the family.
We're getting a little bit sidetracked from the family-friendly cruising now, though, aren't we?
Yes, but I have seen a Christmas in July cruise for Australians, obviously, because we like to celebrate a cold Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere. We want to be like our Northern Hemisphere friends.
Yeah. Look, even if it's not your Christmas in July, those Christmas market cruises, if you're talking about river cruising through Europe, so you can now do the most beautiful river cruises. Like, for example, a very popular one is all through the Danube, where you would be taking in, the best of Austria. Budapest is another really popular destination, Amsterdam, and, so all through France, Germany, Italy, and you basically cruise through all the canals and the locks, and you get off and you cruise around, or you walk around the markets where all the Christmas markets are, and all the lights at winter time. It's just the most fairy tale experience, and that's a beautiful one to do with the kids as well.
How child-friendly are some of those cruises?
Oh, well, for a start, look, it depends on your budget. The smaller the ship, the more luxury and more attention to detail.
Okay.
But if you really want to do a family-friendly budget cruise, then the ocean cruises are the ones for you, where it's, you're all-inclusive and everyone gets sort of that package deal. Before you step on board, make sure you do your homework and you're not going to be stung with any extra costs at the end.
Yeah. So it seems like you can't really feel like you're stuck in the same place on board a claustrophobic ship, because that is another big cruising cliche.
Look, that's such a popular cliche. People say, oh, I don't want to be like stuck, trapped on board a cruise ship. But cruise ships these days are being built to have a capacity for around 5,000 passengers plus crew.
Yikes.
Right? So that's a huge ship. We're talking 20 decks. That's the size of, a Westfield tower. If you can feel claustrophobic in a Westfield, then I'll give you $20.
There's too much to do.
There's too much to see and do. And I'm personally someone, I really don't like crowds. I've never once felt claustrophobic on a cruise ship. And then the beauty of it is that if you're talking about, say you're on board for a whole week, chances are you're going to have one, maybe two sea days in amongst that. Every other day, you have an itinerary that involves being at a different port. Even if you're doing a cruise around New Zealand, you're in a different city every single day and you're getting off the ship. Like, the biggest problem I actually face is that there's too much to choose from and the days go so fast and you're getting back on board after a full day and you're feeling like you just don't have enough time to do everything. So, that's probably my number one complaint. It's not that you get bored or claustrophobic, it's actually the opposite.
One of the cruises I did went from Sydney to Brisbane and back, and I loved the days where we were just travelling at sea. I had a balcony
Yeah.
room. I would stare out at the ocean looking for whales and dolphins. I loved doing nothing on that cruise. And I actually enjoy action holidays where I'm normally kept really busy. But the options are there for you on the ship. There were things to see and do, but I could also just relax in my room. And as you were saying before, when you're traveling with the entire family, sometimes you do want a little bit of alone time, and you can do that. You can just head back to your room.
Honey, I crave those moments of stillness. Like I would pay double just to have a little bit of peace and quiet. So if you tell me that it's 3 days of just cruising and looking out at the ocean, that to me is like winning the lotto. I would, yeah. And as we know, for all the mums who are listening, like that is gold, pure gold. Knowing that everyone in the family is having a great time, the kids are off running amok, hopefully not too much of a muck. But, like for me to just have a moment of stillness, that's peace.
Yeah, where can you do that? Yep. Now, opposite of stillness, I've got to ask about seasickness. A big scare factor when people are going on cruises. They're worried about getting seasick. They're worried about bad weather. What do you say to that?
Look, what I say to that is that I've personally interviewed the captains of these phenomenal ships time and time again, and what they have now on these ships is something called stabilizers. So you're not getting on board a small little boat. You're getting on board a ship that actually has the stabilizer running 24/7. You don't notice that they're running. But even in the highest of seas, I've been on board some of these cruises coming back from New Zealand across the Tasman, and there's been really high swell. But I've never once felt seasick. And I am the sort of person, I can't look at my phone if I'm the passenger in a car because I'll get car sick. But on a ship with the stabilizers going, I've never felt seasick. I think the only danger that most passengers have of being sick on board a ship is if you've eaten too much at the buffet or you've had too much in the all-you-can-drink package. Look, in terms of
Overindulged. I'm guilty of that.
yeah. I mean, that can apply to many Aussies or families who get on board and they're a bit overexcited. But personally, seasickness has not been an issue.
Like you, I do get motion sickness. I get car sick, and I was worried before I went on a cruise. And funnily enough, my dad, he used to be a captain of a ship, and my mum was a nurse on a ship. That's where they met. So they gave me the advice beforehand. You'd think I would have been on more cruises, but my dad only stayed on cruise ships for a small period of time, and he then moved on to other ships. But they told me about the stabilizers, and they're like, you're probably not going to feel anything. But I was still concerned. So I took all the tablets with me, the quells, the wristbands. They're supposed to do their woo-woo magic or something on the pressure points. And I didn't get sick. I did not feel sick at all. I actually enjoyed the lull of the waves. It really helped me sleep.
I've got to say, hon, one of my favourite things is actually sleeping on board a cruise ship. I sleep better on a cruise than I do at home because there's something about that movement, like that rocking. People have said to me, it's sort of reminiscent of being back in the womb or in the cradle, and the sound of the ocean being right there. I personally, my top tip for anyone on a cruise ship, just forget the aircon. Open up your balcony door if you're lucky enough to have a balcony cabin and just let that salt air and sound of the waves in. It is absolute heaven. It's like the best night's sleep you'll ever have.
The first night I didn't because I thought, I don't know, it's not like anyone was going to climb in through the balcony, but I was a little bit scared. And then the next night the doors were wide open and it was the best feeling on earth. I encourage everyone to open up your doors and experience that on a cruise ship. It's so nice.
It is absolutely beautiful. And you know what? If anybody did climb in over your balcony on a cruise ship, I would be very impressed. That would be some serious parkour.
I've never had a worry with this, but talking to some other people, safety was a little bit of a concern on a cruise ship.
Look, I mean, anyone who's worried about that, you could just say that the balcony heights are exactly the same as any apartment balcony or any balcony in any main building. They're all built to standard height. So, I think the same could be said for people traveling with kids anywhere who are worried about swimming pools without fences in foreign countries. You just need to be mindful and, maybe just think about what is and isn't in your non-negotiables as a parent. I mean, we can't exactly bubble wrap our kids in life entirely. But balconies, yeah, they're all pretty standard height according to any regulations for any buildings on Earth. So,
yeah, I think you're right. I've never felt unsafe when I was on a cruise whatsoever. Walking around the bow of the ship, that kind of thing, it just felt fine all the time. And there are cameras there, they're making sure everybody is safe at sea. Now, I think we busted this one. Cruises are only for retired folk.
Look, I'm so excited to say that the average age of loyal cruise fans is dropping dramatically. I mean, most people my age have been on cruises now, and even people in their 30s are really taking to cruising now too, because they're realizing how cost effective it is to do group holidays. Or even things like a destination wedding, where everything is on board. Everyone can just relax and connect.
A wedding on board?
Yeah, weddings on board. It's becoming hugely popular. And so, yeah, because the captain actually becomes a celebrant. There's chapels on board cruise ships. Yeah, it's
My gosh, they're bringing back the Love Boat.
It never went anywhere, Sal. It's still going. Like Princess Cruises is still officially known as the Love Boat brand.
There you
I was
go.
on board a cruise very recently, and it was on Valentine's Day, and there was something like 50 couples on board who all renewed their vows at the same time on Valentine's Day, and it was so much fun.
I'm just thinking about it from a parent's perspective. If you're renewing your vows or you're getting married and you already have kids, there are babysitters on board and there are kids' clubs.
Oh, yeah, free babysitting, the kids' club. It's brilliant, regardless of what age they are, because kids' clubs now on board the bigger cruise ships, there's multiple kids' clubs, and some are catering specifically for the younger kids or the babies. And then you've got teen clubs that have, like these discos and they're actually like really specifically made for certain age groups. So they've come a long way.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Which cruise lines are more kid-friendly than others? Which ones have those multiple kids clubs?
Yeah, some of them are like the really obvious ones. So Disney, for example, is sensational for kids.
Yeah.
Then Princess is brilliant. They've got multiple age group kids clubs. You've got Royal Caribbean. They're really, really well set up with everything you can imagine with all the water slides. So the really big cruise lines are, they're you can't fault them, and it's almost like they're really competing. So it's a bit of a family's paradise now. You can't go wrong.
Is there a minimum age for kids' clubs?
No, not really. I mean, some of these people who work in the kids' clubs are just some of the best trained people. And honestly, the crew on board are from countries all over the planet. So you've actually got people that are so naturally gifted with kids. Like sometimes if you take a holiday to a place like Fiji or Vanuatu, you get these beautiful Fijian crew member who they've just got the biggest smiles on earth, and they're just naturally drawn to children. So you set and forget. You walk away, and your kids don't even notice you've left. They're just having the best time ever. So yeah,
and they don't want to go home. Well, back to the room at the end of the day.
It's like, yeah, you turn up to collect them thinking, oh my gosh, I feel so guilty. I've been gone for 3 hours. And they kick and scream when they see you walk back in the room like, no, I don't want to leave. So yeah, it's a good cruise when that happens.
What's the best kids club on board that you have seen?
Oh, that's such a good question. I've honestly been on so many where even just as a journalist, I've done the tour and I've seen what is available. And I mean it when I say there's like these breakout rooms for panic rooms and laser tag. There's dodgem cars. There's ping pong tables, mini golf, rock climbing walls. There's like water parks and water slides. There's one of my favorite things was like a skydiving simulator. So
Indoor
yeah,
skydiving.
yeah, it's called iFly, and it is. I mean, I'm a bit of a big kid myself when it comes to stuff like that, but wave pools where you're actually on a surfboard on the back of a cruise ship, looking out at the ocean as far as the eye can see, and you're 17 decks up high, and you're riding a surfboard. It is.
Okay, I want to be a kid again. Can adults do this too? What's going on?
Yes, because we're all big kids, aren't we, Sally? I mean, I know you and I still are. We always will be.
Yeah, although I don't really like water slides as much anymore, especially
Fair
when
enough.
it's a little bit cold. I like my pools to feel like a hot bath.
Fair enough. I mean, look, I don't love the cold water, but that's the beauty of a cruise ship, right? You can get off your water slide and run straight to the whirlpool, which is heated. And then after that, you could go down and just jump into like the enclave, which is the spa wellness zone for the grown-ups, and have your massage in a heated hot stone massage. Like, really.
Oh, stop it, Rose. This is
I
too
know. I could
good.
talk forever. It really is that good.
Now, I know you've got a cruise coming up and you've got to get packing, but I want to ask some important things for the parents out there. Okay, so you've booked your family holiday on a cruise, but can you pick the cabin you want?
I think the number one tip is to book early. And if you are booking through your travel advisor, then definitely specify some of your requests. Like, I personally like to have my own adult space where I can break away and have a moment of peace from the kids, but I still want to know that they're right there. So you could have an adjoining cabin that has a door between the cabins. You can also request cabins that have bunks for kids that fold out and have their own private TV area in there. So, everyone has their own little private breakout space where you get that time away from each other. Otherwise, you could go a little bit stir crazy. But at the same time, you still want to know that everyone's in that sort of shared zone.
What's one surprising thing parents might not expect on a cruise?
Oh, well, one thing I love knowing at the end is that your laundry can be done for you. I mentioned just earlier, that's for me, it's an absolute luxury. But most people don't know that there are secret areas on board cruise ships, like massive laundry rooms. Okay, here's another thing. For passengers who misbehave, you can actually be arrested, and there is a jail on board the cruise ship.
I thought that was a myth.
No, it's true. It is actually true.
Cool.
But you can imagine, right? Say something illegal happens on a cruise ship. It's not impossible. You have to have somewhere to put that person. So there's a lockup, there's a jail cell. Not that I've actually experienced it personally, but I do know for sure they do exist. And here's the best part. If you've got kids who misbehave, you can threaten them with the jail, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's bribery.
Oh, you're a tough mum, Rose.
That's my insider tip about things
Send
that
them to
people
jail.
think don't exist, but they actually do. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking something pretty boring, more along the lines of you can't really bring your electrical appliances. There's nowhere to plug it in your cabin. Am I right?
That's all changing. I'm pleased to say it's all changing. So now, for example, this cruise ship I'm about to get on next week in the Mediterranean, it was originally built in 2017 for the Chinese market. It's just had a 2-week dry dock refurb, and everything's now being refitted with USB connectors. So you directly just plug straight in and you've got your universal access for electricity. I mean, they can have maximum volt, just for safety purposes. But the bathrooms generally will have enough voltage for your hairdryer and things like that. So it's all, yeah. So if you're getting on any modern day cruise ship, you should be fine.
But are there kettles and things like that? I'm thinking in terms of babies on board. They need to heat up their bottles. They might want to store baby food, that kind of thing that you'd find in hotel rooms.
Okay. Look, so most cabins will have like a mini fridge, and some of them are just obviously empty. But on a good cruise, then you'll have your own mini bar. But yeah, at the very least, you'll have your own mini fridge. You can request. Here's the beauty: become besties with your cabin steward. On a luxury cruise, you'd call that person your butler. But in most scenarios, it's just the crew member who services your room, your cabin, I should say. And if you meet that person at the start of the cruise and you just say to them, hi, I have a child or a toddler traveling with me. Is it possible to have a kettle in our room, please? Or is it possible to call you when we need things to be warmed up in a microwave, or, things along those lines? That's my best tip for you. That's their job, is to actually help you with those small requests that make your journey, more easy for you, or to cater for your special needs if you have small kids traveling with you.
Oh, yes, and they are super helpful, aren't they? I do remember now that I had not my personal butler, but someone dedicated to my room, and they were always asking if everything was okay. You just don't get that in a hotel unless you're getting the fancy penthouse or you've got the big bucks.
Oh, some of my favourite memories of cruises have been those relationships I form with the cabin steward, and you get to know them by name, and then you see them every day, and they actually remember you by name, and that's when you form these beautiful friendships with them, and they're the people I miss most at the end of the cruise. It's like, oh, I just wish we had Nestor. I want to take Nestor home with me. He made the journey. He's the one that made the little towel animal on my bed every night, or put the little chocolate on the pillow, and made the trip really memorable. They're the people. Yeah.
The level of hospitality on cruises is very high. It's not like staying in a hotel where you barely speak to anyone who's helping you with the room. You don't even see the maids. It's very, very different.
It's very different to the hotel. You're right, Sally. Yeah.
Now, can parents bring strollers on board?
Yes, you can. You can.
Do you need a stroller?
I mean, I think generally speaking, once you're on board, you'd be surprised by how little you'll need the stroller. So, there's elevators on every floor. There's stairs that take you up and down. And then once you start to know your way around the cruise ship, it's quite fun, and it's really easy and safe. Everything's carpeted, unless you've got like a teeny tiny kid. Kids who can walk generally prefer to walk. So, that's the fun of it. You're exploring and you're taking it in as an adventure. So,
Yeah, also for parents of little bubbers, is there somewhere to buy nappies, baby food, wet ones, all the things that we don't have to buy anymore, Rose?
I know, thank goodness we're in the clear for that, but it feels like yesterday when that was all pretty fresh. And it's, it can make or break a holiday for you if you have enough of those essential items. My personal advice is, if you're worried about not having enough, and if you're specific about which brand of baby food you use or which nappies you use, then, take everything with you and be over prepared just for that peace of mind. There are those sort of basic shops on board the big cruise ships where you can access most of those convenient items, but the supplies are limited. And as I said, if you're specific about which ones you use, then I would highly recommend just being prepared in yourself. They're never going to say that you can't take a certain number of things on board. It's different to being on a plane. With a cruise ship, it's not, weight restricted. You can take as many bags on board as you like, and there's plenty of space for storage. So, yeah, just if in doubt, be prepared and take it with you.
Now, when I went on a cruise, there were no supermarkets or anything like that. They had a chemist, but is there anything like that on board the bigger cruise ships?
So the bigger cruise ships are really awesome at having all the boutiques for duty free. So shopping is huge. But in terms of essential items, it's still a bit more like just a small convenience store. Um, yeah, I would just, in case of emergency, yes, you can access anything you really need. But, I think for me, it's better to just be prepared and take as much as you think you're going to need.
Okay, so be sure to pack some of your kids' favourite snacks, but there's plenty of food on board.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's the one thing about cruising. You're not going to go hungry.
Awesome.
You know,
Now, people have asked me if there are healthy options on board for children because sometimes you do need to give your kids a carrot stick or a cucumber stick. Can you get all of that at the buffet?
Look, I've got to say, dining on cruise ships now is some of the most amazing organic, healthy produce I've ever seen. So,
Yeah,
it's not like back in the day of being at Pizza Hut and stuff with the big buffet. No, like now
it's so different now.
it's poke bowls and salads and fresh produce that they reboard when they get into every port. So these cruise ships are constantly restocking with fresh ingredients every time you dock, and they're really inspired by the destinations you cruise to. So if you're cruising around the South Pacific, they'll be doing fresh tropical fruits and amazing seafood. If you're in Alaska, they'll be doing the Dungeness crab and,
That's my dream cruise.
beautiful. Oh, it's just, it really is. It's come so far. And then that's just your buffet. And then there's the specialty dining restaurants. Sometimes there's 20 different restaurants on board to choose from. So, look, the last thing you're going to be worried about is being able to access fresh food and snacks for the kids. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so happy because I do consider myself a little bit of a food snob.
Yeah, well, no, I'm a foodie too. And it's like the amount of people who choose a cruise based on the onboard dining is huge. People love their food.
Do you have any clever cruise hacks parents should know before boarding? Like, how boarding and disembarkation works, because that one can be a bit tricky.
Well, look, this is the beauty of having kids with you. If you are with young children, the same as if you're at an international airport, cruise ships do really try to look after you. It's in their best interests to fast track people with small children. So all you really need to do is just flag. Boarding a cruise ship is the same, assuming you're doing an international waters trip. It's the same as doing an international airport. And you do still have to go through customs. So all I can say is just, you flag your customs officer at the cruise terminals and you just say small children, and they'll do their best to usher you through faster than the majority of people lining up. So yeah, no, don't be afraid to just put your hand up and ask if in doubt. And it can make the world of difference. And it's in everyone's best interest that the kids are well looked after in that situation. So nobody ever complains.
I can't remember. It's a bit like the airport, isn't it, where you have to go through security?
Yeah, definitely. It really is. You've still got to have your passport handy. So that's the other top tip. If you're traveling with kids, make sure everyone's passports are ready to go. You don't want to be that person.
Yes, I needed mine and I was just staying in Australia and doing a circle in the ocean.
Yeah, what you're doing is anytime you're going on the ocean, you're technically entering international waters.
Yeah.
So that counts as an international holiday and you've got to have your passport with you.
Well, that's a very good tip. But I'm sure the cruise line or your travel agent will let you know ahead of time.
Absolutely. And if you're booking through a travel agent, it's their job to make sure you know all of those things. You don't have to worry about visa requirements, even if you're visiting multiple countries, because you're there for less than 72 hours. That counts automatically as a tourist visa. So that's something that's, set and forget much easier when you're traveling on a cruise that wouldn't apply otherwise if you were doing it by land and by air.
It really is a very easy option for a family holiday.
It is. I remember trying to travel around the world with kids on planes, trains, and automobiles, and the amount of stuff that you had to lug with you. I had my pram that would fold up. I had the travel cot that would fold up. I had all the kids' nappies and their baby food and the bottles. And it was an absolute logistical nightmare. No, like let alone trying to weigh everything and make sure that it was under the restricted weight amount. And physically, I didn't have a spare hand. It was insane. So the idea of like cruising to multiple destinations and only having to pack and unpack once, that in itself for me just makes it a no-brainer. Plus the fact that it's often more affordable to do it via the cruise option than if you were doing that with airfares and taxis and hotels and then tickets to go and see the shows or to the water parks, and then restaurants on top. It's like it is so much more affordable to just do it as an all-inclusive package on a cruise ship.
It really is. It's a whole lot of fun. You know what I say? What happens on a cruise stays on a cruise.
Oh, really, darling? I say whatever happens on a cruise stays on Facebook.
Yeah, well, it didn't happen if it's not on Facebook.
There are cameras everywhere. Don't do it.
I had so much fun cruising, and what I took away from it is that when you're on there, you really have to lean into the vibe. I saw some things on that cruise that just have stayed with me for a very long time. I would spot passengers who seemed to be very reserved, lying by the pool, reading a book with their glasses on. And then all of a sudden, the party leader comes out and wraps everybody up. And this woman in her sixties is doing high kicks and splits and all these amazing dance moves just to win like a bucket of beer or something like that.
Dave, I've got to tell you some of my memories. Some things I can't repeat to the general public. But, I've been the first to hit the dance floor in things like a silent disco around the piazza. I never thought I'd say that, that's for sure. I've witnessed dad belly flop competitions around the pool with 400 people cheering on these dads that take it very seriously. The list is endless, but you're right. It is just about embracing doing something outside your comfort zone. And it really only takes about a day of being on board before you stop and just, drop your guard and just get into the zone. And that for me is like, it's so much. It's very refreshing. You find that even though you're doing more on this holiday, you get to the end of the holiday and you actually feel refreshed because you've got this new sense of energy. And, like I said, you've been outside your comfort zone. You've done something you never thought you would swear you would never do in your lifetime. And yet there you are doing it. So, yeah, it is about having fun and just dropping your guard.
Absolutely right. And I hope your daughter does that with you in the Mediterranean next week.
One can only wait and see, and Facebook will be there to tell the tale.
I can't wait for the photos. Now, just before we end, I think we should do the final Fast 5 questions that I ask everybody. We'll keep it short and snappy.
Ooh, okay.
Here we go, Rose Kelly.
Shoot.
Do you prefer window or aisle seat? What's your pick?
If I'm on my own, I prefer a window. If I'm in the aisle, it's because I've got the kids and I need to get up and down constantly.
If budget wasn't a factor, what's your dream destination?
Ooh, I would like to go to Morocco and do some shopping in all the bazaars.
You've probably been just about everywhere anyway.
Been to a lot of places, but there's still a few more I could put on the bucket list, honey.
Complete this sentence. I never leave home without my mobile phone fast charger, because guaranteed I'll be taking so many photos and videos wherever I go that it eats my battery faster than at home, and I never want to be out of battery with my phone. What's your travel style, backpack or suitcase?
Oh, I'm definitely a suitcase on wheels. And my dream is to one day have an electric suitcase that I can ride on, so I could be even more hands-free.
Oh, I've seen Paris Hilton doing that.
Oh, my God, no.
You could totally be Paris. I see that for you.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, yes.
And finally, what snacks do you pack in your suitcase?
Oh, this is my top insider tip. I take those Carmen's protein bars. I take them everywhere You can take them in your carry-on. They just give you long-lasting energy, and they're delicious, and they're really cheap and easy. My kids love them as much as I do. I have to hide them from the kids so that I still have one for myself. But they're really, really great for traveling.
Yeah, and that's an Aussie treat, right? So you can't pick that up overseas.
Well, no. I mean, I generally take as many. They're also really easy to pack. Like, you can just put a whole pack of 6 in your suitcase, or just throw 2 in your handbag. And there's so many different varieties of flavors as well. So they're really easy.
My tummy's rumbling now. Thank you, Rose. At least it's healthy.
Yeah, I'm not on commission, but Carmen's, if you want me to be your ambassador, I'm all in.
Well, thank you so much, Rose. Now, if someone wants to get more cruising advice, where can we find your podcast?
So you can check out all of my content. The podcast is called Onboard with Cruise Passenger. And all of my magazine and website content is on the website cruisepassenger.com.au. Or if you want to just follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you can find me Rose Kelly Official. And I would love to share all of my content with you guys.
Oh, thank you so much, Rose. That was really, really informative. And I bet you will be inundated with questions now. You know what? Have the best time with your daughter on the Mediterranean. I cannot wait to see all those pictures.
Merci.
Bon voyage. And let's talk again in the near future.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you so much for listening to Snacks and Suitcases. I hope you're feeling more inspired and maybe even a little tempted to give cruising a go. A big thanks to Rose Kelly for sharing her stories and tips. She sure knows her stuff. Now, I know cruises can sometimes pop up in the news for the wrong reasons, especially with that Netflix doco making the rounds. But let's be honest, that's not the full picture. If it were, cruising would be one of the fastest growing travel industries in the world, with passengers booking again and again. So if you're on the fence about taking your family on a cruise, take it from me and from Rose. It might just be one of the easiest, most affordable and unexpectedly fun holidays you'll ever have. And if you want to know more, I've popped Rosie's contact details in the show notes. Don't forget to please leave a review. Let me know what you're keen to hear on Snacks and Suitcases. And don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with your fellow travel-loving families. Until next time, happy travels!